beautiful people of the world, is the Creative Rush here, and today is our tutorial on making 8-bit 2D platformers in our own games in Unity 3D. In our last episode we played Duck Game, which is the most frantic Twitch reflex relying thing I've ever played in my entire life. It did show a really good example on what we're covering today though, which is setting up your own 2D sprite and make your little 2D environment there, and we're going to set up our own platformer game. And as always, as we start these videos, let's look at our example. Alright, so right here we have our example of sort of what our game's going to look like. So I have it controlled so you have the arrow buttons, or the A and D buttons, move you left to right on your little 2D environment. Then you can use spacebar, or you can set it up to W or the up arrow, if that's what suits your game better. And it will make you jump up to the next platform. And that's all you really need for a platformer now, isn't it? Alright, now that we have our blank scene open, we have a directional light set up though, which would help. I don't know what kind of game you're making, but directional lights usually help. You can see we have two windows open for this episode, which is a little different for us. Our first is our scene, and our second will be our game when our game is actually there. But I put it there so you can see the 2D elements mesh with some 3D elements we're going to add. Also, on those lines, I want to add that the methods we're going to use today are going to be a little unorthodox. Because we're going to make a 3D game, but turn it into 2D. And I think it may sound a little bit like a cop-out, but the way we're doing it, it adds a lot of versatility to what you can do. You can switch it from a 2.5D to a 2D game right off the bat. So, without further ado, let's start. So first, we're going to want to create some cubes. These will be our platforms. We're going to create 3D object cube. There's our first platform. Then we have create 3D oh, whoops, wrong button. Create 3D object cube. Now we have two cubes set up. We want to put them on the same Z axis because we need them to all be lined up. There we go. And now here's a really cool trick you can use. If you see right here it says 2D, click on that. Now you see from a 2D perspective. Now we're going to move these 3D objects so they fit in our 2D environment. We're going to scale these blocks to be our platforms. Move this over. That looks good. And then this one will scale to about the same height. Move it a little bit over here. Then move it. Alright, so here are our two platforms. This one's a little skinny. There we go. So here we have our two platforms. You can see there. If we go in 3D mode, we have 3D platforms. What? Alright. So now we're going to go into standard assets. Wrong standard assets. For some reason I have two standard assets. I think that's just a thing I downloaded from the asset store that gave me that. And we're going to add a first-person controller. This is going to function as our platformer controller, of course. But there's some editing we need to go through. Make sure he is not through the cube, or that will make him fall to the ground. Alright. Now that we have him set up, maybe we can scale him down a tad bit. Alright, that looks good. Now we're going to add our character. So to do this, we're going to go to Create, 3D Game Object, Plane. I'm going to rotate this to where you can actually see the player. But first, I'm going to I'm going to add the material of little 8-bit me. I drew up a little me for this tutorial, so awesome. We're going to rotate this to fit on this. So first, on the Y, we're probably going to go 180. Here we go. And on the X, that's either 90. Alright, 90 on the X. Cool. Move it over. Big eye. I'm watching you. Alright. Scale that down. And we're going to put it about the same Z axis as the first person controller. Position. Z position. It's looking great already. So for me, I'm going to scale him a little bit like this. so we can get a more accurate representation of me and my ultra way too thinness. Scale myself a little bit. Make myself fit the collider. There we go. I'm all nice and fitting. So after we do that, we're going to take that plane. I'm going to rename this Me. Here you go. So now we have Me! We're going to connect into the first person controller. And then we'll delete graphics. Sorry, graphics. I'll miss you forever. Scale Me a little bit down. Alright, there I go. Now for the camera angle. We're going to take this main camera and scooch it out a little bit. I would say this closeness, it works for our tutorial so you can see our guide better. But maybe in a actual platform you might want to go a little bit farther away. We're going to take that and delete the mouse look component. This is so the camera doesn't rotate around when you use the mouse. And also delete that same component from the first person controller so he doesn't rotate. Alright, now that we have that, we can work on the 2D aspect of the game, which is the whole reason you watch this video, I'm guessing. So where it says projection and perspective, you're going to want to change perspective to orthographic, and that makes it super far away. So where it says size, we're going to change that to about 3, looks about the same. Alright, so now we have that in our 2D little space. See, it all looks 2D. And there's our little camera. That's where it's all set up. It's all looking really good as of now. If we go into play mode, it should work. But there's an extra step you guys have to do. Because I was a big old dum-dum, and I went and edited a script, but forgot to copy and paste it to show you the original version. But here's what you should end up with when we're done. Your guy, you can jump platform to platform, yada yada yada, and it all works like we want it to work. But there's one extra step which we need to cover. So we have a script attached to every character called character motor, and this makes him work. Well, this script by default is set up so you can move along every axis and not just the X and Y. There's also in and out movement on the Z axis. I was able to turn this off, but I forgot to copy down the script to show you the original. So we're going to open up character motor real quick, and I'll try my best to show you what I changed. It's a very simple change. I just figured this out by messing around in the script, but it works very well, and it does exactly what we want it to do. Alright, now we have our script open. We're going to go all the way down to here. At least that's where I remember it being. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is it. We have these lines right here. Now if you look closely, you'll see all these are labeled X. All 5, I'm pretty sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now if you go into your own character motor script, the one that you have set up by default, you'll see some Z's in there. You want to change all those Z's to X's, and it will stop it from moving in and out of the area. Well, yeah, everybody, that's how you create a 2D platformer in your own game, and I just fell off the cliff. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope it helped. And I guess, since we've covered everything, and there's nothing else to say, I'll see all you guys in the next video. See you later.